folks. One of the Redneck Country podcast. You are on with Real Redneck Todd Millard. And, of course, we've got the almost guy, Real Redneck Bill. Tom Bill, are you there?
I'm here, and it's a beautiful night for a podcast.
It actually is a beautiful night for podcasts. I had to go out and pick up the kids from school earlier today because it was raining, and they didn't want to walk in the rain. And I noticed that the temperature was pretty warm. Things are starting to melt out there.
And so they let you out of your house, and the sunlight hit your eyes, and you were like a vampire. What is that? What is it?
The sun's not made of kryptonite, so I survived. But it was a very quick trip there and back.
No doubt.
It wasn't out long, but I did notice it was fairly nice. It was warm.
Rain today it did here, so
but yeah.
I think the winter is just about over and the spring is coming.
Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that. Everybody hate them. Hate them. Join me in hating.
Forget the winter. I'm done with it.
Well, I'm done too, but now you just jinxed us and brought on 6 more there, Wyatt and Willie. Way to go.
I'm not a groundhog.
you just predicted, which it never goes the right way. It's like saying, hey, I'm 95 straight. I only got 5 to go. Yep, now you've done it.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. And, I think you better introduce who's next to you.
Oh, did I not do that yet?
No.
I've been adjusting the microphone because I listened to the last podcast and I didn't take as much time. We pride ourselves on, hey, we're just sitting around the campfire having a conversation, and whatever we say goes. I unedited, fire it up there, but I didn't adjust Dad's levels because I normally don't touch it. And he just gets in this habit of just leaning back in the chair and talking, and he's way too far away from the microphone. And so now I've readjusted it. I put that mic in his, because he wants to be able to. So tensions are a little bit high right now between us as I manipulated the microphone in the studio and made sure that he can still lounge in the big black chair that he's got here.
Well, that's what I do. I sit back and relax around the campfire and I just talk normal.
And there it is, folks.
I'm not the wild man.
My father, the patriarch of Redneck Country, Real Redneck Don Millard. Dad, I gotta say it, is your mic hot?
It's hot, and it was a beautiful night to walk over to the podcast with an umbrella.
with an umbrella.
Yeah.
So you can hear him okay tonight, eh, Bill? His levels are all right?
Well, his levels are all right. I always can hear a little bit less than you guys can over there, but you always tell me it sounds good in the end. And sometimes I listen and it sounds great, and last time it sounded like it could have needed a change last week.
And it's a trade-off. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because we understand, folks. I get it, that you get it too close to the Patriarch, and all of a sudden, through the whole thing, it sounds like we're chilling with Darth Vader. It's just a...
You got to find that happy medium.
You got to pull the mic back. Because, so I hope I found the right spot.
Keep it up. You're still in reach of slapping distance.
You'll never be my father.
That's awesome. So where do you want to go? Where are we going tonight? Let's get right into it.
I don't know. Well, wait a minute. I want to know what you did this week. I kind of know what you did this week, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, I won't be doing much for a week. Let's put it that way, because they're socially. Anyways, I'm not going to get into all the politics behind it, but I woke up Saturday morning with a head cold. It was my first cold in 2 years, and I know what a head cold feels like because I've had them before. And I slept most of the day on Saturday. I wasn't feeling great. Woke up Sunday morning and started feeling a little bit better.
You didn't look in a mirror, did you? Because that'll do it. Like
Yeah, well...
Anytime you want me to smack him, Bill, just tell me. He's
You don't need to wait for me. Anytime the feeling gets to you, know that you and I are on the same page.
But he can't cut, and he tore the muscles in his shoulder. Okay, keep going.
I can still whack.
Yeah.
That's not a reach.
Saturday, I got not feeling very good on Saturday. Woke up Sunday morning and felt a little bit better. Still had a scratchy throat and just the lingering effects of the head cold. And Monday, because it was holiday Monday, family day, I was feeling the same, and Candace and I both decided to take our rapid COVID test.
Now, why would you do something so silly?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. There's she works with old people, and her boss has made it quite clear that she should probably.
Okay, I get that. You're concerned, if you're going, if she was going to go in, it's okay. I've got this sniffle. It could be worse to an elderly person,
right.
So I'm going to do. I respect that.
She's doing the responsible thing for herself, her family, work family, I should say, and I guess us too at home. But we decided to just take a rapid test just to be safe and check that box to make sure that we didn't have anything that was a problem. And sure enough, she comes back that she's negative, and I come back positive.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I'm trying to follow. I don't know if this is the science, but so Candace is negative, but you came back positive.
That's right. And then Hunter took his test. And he's positive too. And
Hunter's positive. Is Candace taking another test?
She will take another one tomorrow because she figures that she's going to wait 2 days. She's feeling worse today. It's the head cold. She's feeling worse today. And, she'll take a test tomorrow, and then we'll see if she's going to be positive too. So.
All right. So then what's in store? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling worse?
Honestly,
are you dying? I need to get you a ventilator?
Yeah, I think that I've had worse colds. I'm not being dramatic or political or anything like this. To be completely 110%.
You've ate my
truthful,
cooking and survived. I'm pretty sure COVID can't touch you now.
Yeah, well, that's exactly true. I've spent time with you. I've survived. It's been worse out there. But I'm not trying to be political or dramatic or lack of dramatic or anything. I feel tired only because I didn't get enough sleep last night, but it has nothing to do with the fact that, that it's COVID. In my opinion, I'm recovering from the head cold that I had on Saturday, and every day I feel a little bit better. If I have a nice cup of coffee in the morning and a hot tea at night, I feel great. I'm not going to tell you I can go out and run a marathon, but I wouldn't do that on a regular day anyways. I'm too fat and out of shape for that. So,
come now. You're the 20K kid.
Yeah, well, I outwalked you, so I mean, that means, and I could outwalk you today. So, but in all honesty, we're going to survive. I get a week off work. I did a lot of work at home, work stuff. And Candace, she was at the island doing her work stuff today too. And I
hope you're keeping 6 feet distance between you, because
what for? I mean, we're both.
No, come on.
Hunter actually, it was funny. He came down, not to get on this too much because I don't want to go there, but he came downstairs after I tested and he hadn't yet, and he had a mask on. I said, fella, you and I have been in the same house for all this time. I said, if it makes you feel better, I'm not going to make fun of you or nothing like that. And sure enough, he went upstairs and tested positive. The mask came off. He was like, yep, well, it is what it is.
I'm building antibodies, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that's all it is. And we're just getting over the flu. That's all we're getting over. So that's
kidding.
Enough of that. And like I said, I'll go back to work next Monday. I'll get some time to work from home. I'll save $200 a week for this week on gas money. I'll get some work done here in front of the fire with a coffee sitting on my lounge chair, and I will be just fine. You can't kill the almost guy with this.
You know what? And I got to say the disclaimer. I joke, but I'm neither this way or that way. There's so much going. And I mean, when I look at all of this, and I don't want to keep politics out of it too, right? We've never, ever gone down this road, and I don't want to.
I don't want to start today.
Because I started chirping and laughing. I just look at the Super Bowl. And then I look at Daytona 500, and I look at the convoy in Ottawa, and I've not heard spikes or anything, so I start to wonder, right? So I'm like, so I was joking with you when you sent me the thing. I think you sent me the test first, and I'm like, are you pregnant? What's his name? So I do like to joke about it. I get, for some people it can be serious. I asked first, actually. I said, how you feeling? And you're like, dude, I'm all right. Great. Then what was his name? And do we know if it's boy or girl? So I'm down with joking about it if you're not serious. And some people, they could be serious for him. So I wouldn't joke about that. So I can joke with you because I know it's not serious. And I'm pretty sure Hunter and Candace, they're not going to be that serious either. Because again, they've hung out with me as well and survived. So
yeah, Candace is doing a puzzle on on the table now. We've got enough food in the fridge and food in the pantry.
Shouldn't she be like tooling some leather?
She did that yesterday. She's actually tooling a new bag for Frank. He wanted one a little bit different design than mine, so she was working on that yesterday. She did some work stuff today, and now she's taking a break doing this. So, yeah, she's fine. We're all fine. It's just 1 week of, I'm okay with it anyways. Like when people were talking about COVID and stuff, having to isolate and stay away from people, I do that anyways. I'm not a huge people person, if you can believe it. So this is great.
I work from home, so I'm like, okay. I got if I have a sniffle, just leave me alone. I'm still working from home, right? Like it is what it is. But I am that social guy. I do miss it when they lock us down and hockey's canceled and everything else. I can't go. And then when they do open it back up, oh my gosh, sorry guys in the locker room. I'm just my chatty Cathy. I like attention.
It's all good. Yeah. So that's what I did. And that's, I won't have much to talk about next week other than working on the Volkswagen and stuff. And I'll tell you all about that next podcast.
Oh boy, am I excited. Well,
I'm sure you are.
Numbers just dropped off for next week. We haven't even recorded it or published it.
Yeah. It's too bad. You haven't even told the story yet. So tell me, what did you guys get up to this week?
What did I get up to? I go first, Dad?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Can you stop him from going first?
Right. So we went trap shooting Wednesday night, and I thought, all right,
try to stop him from going first.
You can, right? Yeah. I'm talking here, taking up my time. So you can only win in the Wednesday night league twice, right? To keep it fair for everybody, because you get somebody dominating, and it's like, what's the point of going, kind of thing. So you can only win twice. I've won once. I'm trying to get my second win. So I went out ready to lit up. The week before, I shot a 48 and thought I lost with the 48 out of 50.
Yeah, you told me that. Somebody came in with a 49.
I thought so. We left just as it was finishing up. But so then this last Wednesday, I went back out and we were shooting, and it was a little bit more difficult. That wind came up and would really kick those targets. I mean, they looked good, and then all of a sudden, boom, they'd be like little rocket ships taking off from you. So, and under the lights, you snap at them because you can see them so easy that you just fast shoot, right? So I really got to calm myself down and slow down and adapt. And so I did all right on the first round, did okay on the second round, but I came in with a 46, and I thought, oh man, there's a 47 that came in on a really windy, dark gusting night, and it was kind of rain off and on. That it was a difficult night. So 46 is going to hold up. Nope, 47 came in, and I'm like, man. But the guy I was shooting with, one of the guys on our squad, so with me, Dad, Sandra. I can't think of the other gentleman's name. And then Gary. And Gary had just finished shooting a 49 out of 50 in our Sunday winter interclub league, the 130 shooters, and won it outright because it was a bit of a day, and we shoot handicap there. So trying to get that 50, it's darn elusive up here in Canada, and the wind and the cold and the snow, and you're shooting in blizzards, and it's insane. So he won.
That'll stop soon, like I told you.
Yeah, well, now that you said that, I'm thinking it's not. We'll probably be shooting in snow in May, thanks to you. But regardless, so he had just come off 49. So he comes out and he's shooting on the same squad. So on the first 25, we tie with a 24, and then we go back out for the next 25, and he drops one, and he looked down at me, and I look at him because we joke back and forth, and I kind of shook my head at him, and then I pull up and yell pull, where there's three shooters between us, and I miss, and he looks and he starts laughing. So then he walks, I dropped another one. Well, he's got to walk past me to get to station one, and he stopped, and he just put his hand on my gun and started shaking his head. And I'm like, well, you dropped one. Are you doing okay? And he's like, yeah. And he moved on. I'm not thinking anything of it. So we line up, we blast away. I didn't drop any. He drops three more. So then afterwards, he just come over, shook my hand. And I'm like, I don't know why you're shaking my hand. Like I shot a 46, I think is what I ended up with. And I'm like, there's going to be a 47 or a 48 for sure. And so we start walking away. We get in the clubhouse and somebody said, well, who won the shoot off? And I'm like, oh, who was shooting off? And they all started laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing? And they're like, you're being serious. And I'm like, well, yeah, who was in a shoot off? And they said, you were in a shoot off. I said, I was in a shoot off with who? And they said, Gary. And I'm like, oh, the dude there, I was just joking around. And I looked, I said, is that why you stopped, put your hand on my gun and shook your head when I dropped one? And he's like, yeah, I opened the door for you and then you dropped one right with me. And I'm like, I didn't even know I was shooting. He's like, yeah, Rob said, I swear, I had no idea. So I ended up winning that shoot off. So now I won the week before with that 48, and now I can't win again. So pressure's off, which kind of sucks because I like it. I go practice.
You didn't have any pressure either because you didn't even know you were.
Well, I wanted to win because I hadn't won two, so I wanted to win that night. So that's why I like the Wednesday night league because it's practice because there's not a massive amount of folks out there, right? But so it's still just practice, but it's with a purpose. So I concentrate. Sure. If I go out there to practice without a purpose, like I get it, it's my personality. I screw around, I joke around. How fast can I hit this one? Oh, how far out can I let this one go? And I get bored and just start doing it. But if there's something on the line, even just bragging rights, then I'll get my head in the game, and then that's really practice. Otherwise, it's not practice, right? You're just screwing around. You're wasting targets, really.
Sure.
For a competition, right? But I mean, it's fun. If you're out there for fun, okay, cool. But if you're out there because you want to do good come summer competitions, then you want to practice with that pressure, like serious. So now it's going to be a double-edged sword. I can go out there with no pressure and have fun, but I like the pressure because now
between you and your dad, you can have friendly competitions.
I think we should put like what, Dad, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 on it.
Yeah, right. like you'd ever pay, right, Bill?
Like,
I should just say, okay, winner takes all the shells you got from me.
Oh, I say we put our houses on the line. Has anybody got a place for my father to stay?
Yeah, right. You have.
Maybe I should start talking him up a little bit more than I do on this podcast. Get him a border.
All right, told him I'm moving in down here.
Anyway, so that's what I did this week. Other than that, not a whole lot. Father, what did you do this week?
I shot like a donkey on Wednesday night. It was terrible. Absolutely awful. Awful. I don't even want to talk about it. It was fun.
We've all had those days where it just doesn't. You pull the trigger, and one, you don't even know what you were shooting at, and two, it was just a waste of ammunition.
In the words of my good buddy Ken
Smith,
they
were high, they were low, they bounced. I mean,
the wrong Don showed up.
I had fun. I visited, a good time. However, I did now last Sunday. We said goodbye to my nephew Matt, and the family got together Sunday afternoon at my daughter's, just to have some things read. In fact, his sister and his wife, they wrote a few things that they wanted to share with the immediate family, and we were going to have some sandwiches and things. So they asked me if I'd do the reading and come up with some scriptures and kind of have a little bit of a service there for them. And I don't know why they figured I'd be able to read these things any easier than they could, but I read it. So it was a little stressful when I was reading these things from his sister and his mother and his wife. And then, of course, I said a few words, had some scriptures. But what made it really nice was our church family got together, and we got a phone call and said, we're bringing lunch. We're going to bring lunch to you. You can't have a funeral. You can't get together, but we're going to bring lunch. And they brought over some vases with flowers and brought over all this food and desserts. And so we had a really nice afternoon saying goodbye to Matt at my daughter's place.
It was good. I wasn't expecting a service when I thought it was just a family get together. And then here's some of like my cousin's husbands in a Les that makes the music for the podcast and got us hooked up with everything to start off with. He's in a full suit, and I'm like, I thought this was a get together, and no, we had a full service. So it was actually pretty good, because I said that originally. It's like you kind of need the service, because that's like celebrating their memory, right? And it's kind of it's closure. Absolutely. You're right, and it's ability to take away from that all of those good times that maybe you didn't think about right away, and now you've got pictures that are bringing that back, like him with fishing and in the back of dad's backyard, cleaning all the fish they caught down off the pier and all of that stuff, right? So it brings back. Oh yeah, a lot of
pictures. So it was really neat to watch.
So it was a good
pictures and memories. So anyway, my great nephew Matt's son, Christmas, he got a road racing set and a radio controlled car, and he got a model of a 6-cylinder engine that you put together and is visible. So to hook it up to batteries, it runs and you can see the pistons and everything move.
Someone really smart got him that.
So I'd already helped him. Like, Matt was too sick following Christmas to really even get out of bed, and he spent a lot of time in the hospital. And so I did help him get his road racing set together, and we had some times road racing and his radio controlled car. And then following the funeral, he come over and he says, Uncle Don, will you help me with this model? I said, sure. I mean, I've built models my whole life. I said, I'd love to help you with the models. So we took a few hours together, and we got that 6-cylinder engine running, and so he was pleased. And so we've been kind of doing things with the kids, tobogganing, Todd's kids and Matt's kids. We took them all over at the park tobogganing. So we've been trying to do some family things together, but they're having a tough time, but we're filling in. Families coming together.
It's a redneck country thing, right? So it's kind of cool. I messaged a buddy. Dad says, I'd like to take him to a hockey game. They're Buchoy. They're from the Philippines. His wife is from the Philippines, and so not really gone to a hockey game. I don't think. Maybe Matt did. I'm not sure. But Dad's like, I'd like to take him to a hockey game. So I messaged a buddy of mine that is affiliated with the junior team here. And he dropped off. He's like, not a problem. I said, just like 2, 4 if you can. I'll pay you whatever you need. I don't even know how to get them because I go play hockey. Haven't gone and watched in forever. And he dropped tonight. He's like, not a problem. Here's 8. You can use them anytime. So that's kind of cool. He's like, hey,
it is. It's good people out there.
Yeah, it is. Really is. So anyway, that was my week. So the only thing bad about it was shooting bad.
Yeah. Well, it's what it is. That's the best part about shooting. There's always next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you got shells.
That's it. That's it.
So anyway, yeah. So where are we going this week? Are we continuing with the days of lead?
I was just going to say, I think there's I saw a couple of good pictures that your dad sent, and I was hoping they were kind of a prelude or a precursor to where we might go. I seen
Dad texted something, and I auto-ignored them.
Yeah, well, if you want me to go back and start at the days of lead and talk about, I'm still in like 70, 71, 72, in the 70s, and whether we'll get to those pictures or not, but we can go there. That's not a problem. I can take you back.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to see. I'd like to hear this.
When things are wide open.
I'm kind of enjoying the old stories.
Well, hold on, because I'm just looking at the pictures now. See if it's worthy.
They're worthy.
Anyway, what? Is it worthy of a story?
Is it worthy of the Redneck Country podcast? I mean, we're getting to be big time now. We have to vet some of these things. He did smack me. That kind of hurt.
Yeah, doggone right. The arm ain't that bad that I can't give you a good wall.
It was more the snap of the wrist. My gosh, I've been slapped like that since I wasn't married.
Ain't like lifting a gun and just whacking them. Stung, didn't it?
Yes, Bill. Yes, it stung.
No, just reminiscent of your youth getting smacked like that over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you were pretty fast when you were a kid.
That's a whole other podcast. Hey, somebody with a mouth my size, you learn to buy fast shoes.
Yeah. Hence your sneaker problems.
True story.
Yeah.
All right, Dad, let's go back to the 70s.
Yeah, well, back in the days of
back to when greatness was born.
Oh, yeah, we're just starting out in our duck hunting career, and we're excited if we even see them, let alone shoot one or two. So what Ron and I used to do was
wait. Before we go further, is this the story I think it is?
No.
Well, if you'd wait long enough,
because I want to prelude it.
What's the story you think it is?
Is this a special way that you had to hunt that you've uncovered that possibly could be one of the biggest tips for a duck hunter today? Because it's probably not been done much. People don't think to do this. I didn't think to do it till you told me this story.
Well, I don't know. We used to do it all the time, drive around. And
why don't you just wait?
Is it MillHill?
No, that's not MillHill. That's coming much later.
Oh, you guys got to wait now. Sorry, I built that up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was pretty good.
Okay, but there's still good stories. There's still good tips to take away. But that one's probably the number one duck hunting tip today. Full stop, bar none.
Well, bet you
it's not done. Yeah, well, how many? We only got like 45 minutes left.
I can fit it in. Anyway,
half an hour.
We used to drive around. Ron and I drive around and look for ducks. What we do is we would look for ducks living in unhuntable areas, like no hunting, and places where they would gather in water where it was illegal to hunt. And there's lots around if you look. And we would park our butts outside these fence lines in a car early in the morning and watch for these rafts of ducks to go out. And we'd pick a big flock and try and follow them. And one of us would drive and one of us would hang their head out the door because you had to really whistle up and down the roads, and because they're flying cross country and you can't drive cross country. Now, I wouldn't like to drive because you had to drive too fast, and Ron would get mad at me if I wasn't getting my foot down on the gas pedal.
Wow, can I relate to Ron right now?
Oh yeah, so he would drive. And we'd be going around corners sideways, and if you had to pull a U-turn, and we'd pull that U-turn on that gravel road like lickety split. There was no three-way turn. It was just cram on the brakes, hit the gas, and spin the car around.
If Scotty was still on these podcasts, he would relate to you right now. I think me and Scotty have done some U-turns that were unplanned on some dirt roads.
Yeah.
A little bit of Dukes of Hazzard there.
But I'm hanging out, and I'm saying, okay, make a right at the next corner. And are you sure? Well, right now I am. And then, okay, they're going right over the car. I don't know if we're going to get to the next corner to go left again, but they would have been too far away to see them from that corner. And so sometimes you'd lose them, so we'd wait for another flock.
So hold on, you're doing all of this because you want to hunt where they're feeding.
Yeah.
So you're going to follow them out to find where they're feeding. And trust me, that's a chore on ducks. Geese is a little bit easier. They're a little bit slower flying. They're a lot bigger of an animal. But ducks, that's a difficult chore to follow them to the field they're feeding in. And
even if we lose them, okay, we figured out the area where they're going, because if you sit in a place where they're living overnight enough and they go in a general direction, now you know, okay, they're about 3 miles north or east or west. And so then you start looking for them. So what we'd do is we'd start driving around looking for them in the field. If we couldn't find them in the field, we'd get the county maps out and look for the streams and the creeks that would cross the roads. So then we just start driving around these roads. Okay, the stream crosses this road. Then we got to
pause.
Yeah.
For those listening today that are under the age of 30, county maps have now been replaced with what you call Google Maps.
Yeah.
See, but you know what? I can relate, because when I was
because
not
you're
to interrupt
old?
your story too much. Yeah, well, you're older than I am, so let's just not go there right now. But all I can tell you for sure is when I was first starting hunting, not to interrupt your story, I went to the Brock University Library mapping department to get topographical map print-offs of the area I wanted to hunt, because there was no Google Earth.
Are you serious?
Like that.
Did it cost you money to get these?
Yes, it did. Well, that's another story for a non-podcast time. But no, those ones didn't cost me money to get.
Yeah, you went to the county.
We don't want to know what you had to do to get those. Thank goodness COVID wasn't around back then, eh, Bill?
Yeah, no.
Well, we did. We had to buy them. We went to the county and paid for the maps, and we'd mark fishing spots. We had all our fishing spots marked. We had all our duck streams marked.
And they had not a special magnifying glass, but there was a magnifying glass that was on a little stand that you looked over, and you could actually see, if you had, you were looking close enough, the depth to these pictures. That's the days of old there, Todd Millard.
So we'd drive around, and if we didn't find them in a field, then we thought, okay, it's getting later in the morning, later in the afternoon, whatever it happened to be. We'll just drive around and cross these streams and creeks, and we'll go real slow over the bridges and look up and down. You look that way, I'll look this way and see if we see any ducks sitting on the streams. And lo and behold, every once in a while, oh yeah, there's 5 ducks down there in that bend. Keep going. You just drive real slow over, and you go down the road a little bit and stop, and then you sneak back. Well, as you're driving over, whichever guy saw them, you would mark, okay, they're down there on that bend or by that tree or halfway up that field is where we got to go. So you'd sneak across the field, and you figure, okay, they're right about here on the stream, and you sneak in. And this one day we'd done that. So we drove over the bridge real slow, and I said to Ron, they're halfway across this field, turn left and go right to the stream. They're sitting right there. Now, they can swim up or down. You never know, but you kind of go in real quiet and see if they're there. If not, you back out and then see if you can see them up and down. But we're going across this field, and we get to where we figure, okay, this is far enough. Now, let's just walk real slow right up to the stream. And we're getting within about 15 yards of the stream, and we're going real slow and quiet. And all of a sudden, we hear some lady yelling at the top of her voice. Look back to the road, and here's this car parked next to ours, and there's a lady standing on the bridge yelling at us, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. And Ron says, what the heck is she want? I said, I have no idea, but she's going to scare these ducks. They're either going to swim up or...
I've experienced this. It's never a good thing when a lady is on a road yelling at you as you're hunting.
So anyway. My experience as well, it doesn't go. Doesn't go well.
They never want your phone number. Well. It's never that. No. So, well, they might, but it's never for a good thing.
We couldn't figure it out. Ron's going, oh my gosh, let's step up the pace. We got to get up there. They're either going to swim away or not be here, or they're going to go up when we're not there. So anyways, we got closer to the stream. They'd only moved up about 10 yards to the right, and up they went. And so we got 3 apiece out of that bunch. And we each had, I had my, my Mossberg by that time, and he had his auto loader. So we got 3 apiece out of that bunch because they're easy to shoot when they come up out of the streams and you're that close. And then all of a sudden,
they're mallards, right? So they jump straight up. Yeah.
So she stopped yelling and kind of, I looked back at her, and it was kind of a look on her face like, oh, and she realized what we were doing then. So we picked up the ducks and we walked back, and she waited for us, and she says, sorry guys, I didn't know you were hunting. I lost my dog, and I was trying to get your attention to see if you'd seen a dog while you were driving around here. And no, we hadn't seen a dog. Sorry. But we didn't have phones. We didn't have radios or anything like that. So all we said was like, sorry. I mean, we couldn't even call her. Give me your phone. Like today, you would say, give me your phone number. If I see a dog, I'll call you. You can't do that. We couldn't do that. Sorry. Never saw your dog. But anyway, she was looking for her dog, and but she didn't ruin the hunt. We thought we might.
Yeah, I figured that she was going to give you a hard time for hunting the ducks. A lot of people,
going to say
either way. You know, we've had these experiences where I've deer hunted.
Really, that didn't cross our mind. You know,
no,
you never thought that back then.
It never crossed our mind.
See, that's the first thing you go to today. Oh, crap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we've had, exactly. There's 99 times out of 100. If I see somebody that when I'm hunting, it's okay. What is this confrontation?
Here we go. Get ready. Unload your gun. Let's have the convo.
50-50. When I'm hunting county bush out here, and I'm coming back in, you know, it's from a turkey hunt or for a walk. You know, I typically always see somebody on the way in, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It's, hey, what are you hunting? You know, I'll unload the gun and show that the action's open and no shells in it, just because you never know who you're going to come up against. And what are you hunting? Hey, did you see anything? Did you have any success? Okay, well, better luck next time. Well, that's what I get. Better luck next time.
Better luck. Do you really mean that? Do you really mean that? Yeah. We've been out here and goose hunting just outside of town, and farmers like, go get them. You're green light. So we get in there and we're hammering them. Next thing I know, I hear screaming from the road as I'm running to pick some up, and this lady's taking pictures of my truck with the trailer. Like, it's not like when we go hunting, we're not hiding. We've got a giant, like, what is it, Dad? 6x12 trailer? Is it bigger than that? 6x14 trailer, fully wrapped with Redneck Country on all 4 sides, with our pictures on all 4 sides of the thing. My truck, F-250 with I don't even know how many inches of lift roll, and 37s with Redneck Country vinyl all over it. We are not hiding, people.
But you know what? I don't think we should. You know, and again, not to get into the political side too much, but I think that if we don't continue to tell people what we're doing in a positive way, we lose it.
Yeah. Oh,
people
exactly.
Get the wrong perception of the entire sport, the entire, you know, the fun that we have, the bonds and that we share, the memories that we make.
Go out and show them you're a good person.
Their opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
go out and show them you're a good person. I tried.
Well, that's it.
When we got up, we were running to pick up geese, and she's screaming at us, and then she realized I was walking towards her with no inkling to go towards her at that time, because I mean, we're in the thick of it. The volleys are coming in. That was the first volley. I'm picking up geese we've just shot. I just had to walk that way as they went over us and were dropped down behind us. And I mean, we are, 2,000 yards. She's a speck out there. I could barely hear her, right? Screaming at the back of my truck. And I'm now walking towards her to pick these geese up. She thought I was walking towards her to have a conversation, and she hightails it back to her house. And I thought, well, I'm not even coming there, but I would like to have a conversation, but no dice, man. She was just not happy. Not happy.
No.
She came back, started yelling again, but I mean, what are you going to do? I couldn't go talk to her. So
no. And at that point in time, you could try to have a conversation, but it would quickly turn into a confrontation.
Yeah, there's some personalities that would listen. There's many personalities that you're just jerk.
They have a preconceived notion in their mind of how that is going to go.
It's better to just say, respectful. You respect. I'll respect your position. You respect mine, and we'll go. And they usually don't respect yours, but you just turn the other cheek and go.
No, but that's what we got to be, bigger people in this, and we got to make sure that we're always, playing that card where we are the bigger people, and we will always be ambassador of our sport.
You got to be peaceful and show love. If not, you're just as bad as anybody else.
And that's it.
Yeah, so. Kill them with kindness. So Dad, that never crossed your mind that this lady was ticked off that you guys see. That's the first. I can't believe that back then. See, I want to go back to those days.
No, we really wondered what the heck she wants. Like, wait till we come out, lady. I don't know what. And even today, I don't know whether she thought we were going to head off back up the stream and into the woods. I don't know. But we marked that stream on our map, and there were other days we'd drive over that bridge. We didn't see any, but we'd park and we'd walk the stream and around the bend and into the woods, and we'd find ducks. So we knew that stream held ducks in the afternoons. So we often went back to it. But we were another day, same thing. We're driving around. We got no field ducks. And so it's getting later in the morning and mid-morning and closer to afternoon. And we would stay out till mid-afternoon. Like, we'd stop at a store and we'd buy some wieners or some bologna and a hunk of cheese and some bread. And we'd have our lunch that way. And, anyway, we saw a flock of ducks come over this cornfield and drop in way in this middle of this cornfield. And we both looked at each other and thought, okay, that's got to be flooded. That's got to be a place in there where the corn hasn't grown and it's flooded. So we parked the car and we started walking in through the corn rows. And so as we get closer and closer to where we figured they went down, now we can hear them chuckling. So, oh, yeah, there's ducks. And I looked down and
they were chuckling. What do you mean?
You know what I mean. You had me doing that last week.
Every time we're
doing that feeder call.
Yeah, the feeder call.
I just wonder what it sounds like.
Yeah, you know what it sounds like. So anyway,
but our listeners might not.
Well, then get a duck call and do it. So anyway, I looked down. I picked up this horseshoe. And I said, there we go. We used to name all these wet holes so we know where we're talking about. So from then on, we called that Lake Horseshoe. So as we got closer and then looked through the corn, yep, there's the ducks. You ready? Yep. We stepped in. Well, by this time, I had my Model 12. I traded in the LC Smith and I had my Model 12. And Ron would have either had his Browning Auto or he would have had his over and under because he bought a new over and under and he loved that over and under. So anyway, the ducks go up and I was getting really good at picking doubles because there were so many of them, they'd go up all at once. And so I'd look for a pair together and then just pick one head. And
I was going to say, for the record, you can't flock shoot still. You can't be like, okay, shoot between these two and hope they both fall because you won't get either. You've got to pick one and hope they both fall.
But I got good at recognizing that, okay, here's two heads close together. I'm going for this head. Because you had lots of time. They were coming up off the water.
To the days of lead.
Yeah.
That's it.
So anyway, I shot, dropped a pair. I swung over to another head and bang, dropped a pair. And then I got one going away. So I got 5 ducks. So Ron.
With 3 shots.
So Ron. I've done that before. He must have had his over and under because he looked over at me and he says, I got a pair. I got a double. How many did you get? I said 5. I got 5. How in hang? And then he you got to know Ron. How in hang did you get 5? I said, you just pick the double heads.
Not to sound cocky or arrogant or anything.
No, but I didn't do that all the time. It didn't happen every time. But there was, and it was rare to get 2 doubles in one volley of 3 shots. But that day I did. So we picked them up and, we marked that on the map. We drew a little circle on the map and named that Horseshoe Lake, so we know what we were talking about. Let's go check Horseshoe Lake out. We knew right what we were talking about. So we continued driving around. We didn't have too much luck, but we're still driving around, and we come back by there, and just very short distance down the road from that cornfield. I think the cornfield actually went right up to the house, but from where we went in, here's a farmhouse sitting maybe about 60 or 70 yards off the road, and it was a wet year. And his front yard would flooded, half of his front yard, and then to the right of the house was all underwater. And it came right up to the road, and you could see where the flooding had run across the road at one time. But here is all this flood water that had drained into this hollow on his front yard. And it was full of mallards and wood ducks. And we thought, oh, my goodness, is there a chance? Ron says, I don't know. Let's go knock on his door. So we drove up his laneway, knocked on his door, said, excuse me, sir. We shot a few ducks in the field next to your house over here earlier this morning. And he interrupted us. He says, were you the guys that woke us up at 6:45 this morning in there? Yeah, I guess we probably were. Apologize for that. But we'd seen some ducks go in there, and we went in and shot a few. And I said, we noticed that your front yard's flooded, and it's full of ducks right now. And we were hoping you'd give us permission to sneak up on those ducks. He says, I'll make a deal with you. I said, what's that? He says, I don't care if you hunt that field. I hunt that water hole in that field, he says, through the week in the Merling. But on Saturday mornings, wait until the afternoon because we sleep in. It wasn't like don't hunt it again. It wasn't like, stay out of it on Saturday. It was just wait till Saturday afternoon or through the week in the morning to hunt that.
Reasonable
no problem,
request.
guaranteed. He says, okay, go and get those ducks out of my front
Reasonable
yard.
people. What happened to these
That's
people?
right.
So we drove out the laneway just like we were leaving, just kind of slow past all the water and the ducks. And it was probably about 25, 30 yards to our left because it was on that side of the house where the water had flooded in the front yard and on. So we drove down the laneway and we turned right. Well, that road was lined with mature trees. So we just drove down a little ways, maybe 5-10 trees, pulled over real quiet, didn't slam our doors, got out, loaded our guns. Now you got to remember, this is back before, and I'm pretty sure is before all those laws came in where you couldn't have a loaded gun, 10 yards from a road and all that stuff. Nobody ever shot from the road. Nobody ever shot across a road that I know of. But there was no law that we were aware of that you couldn't be that close back then.
Because people had common sense.
Yeah.
So you've got people that aren't freaking out on you for hunting. They're logically having a conversation. They're making a deal with you and having that open dialogue that, we respect your hunting. Go ahead. Just don't do it on Saturday. Okay. And you have common sense hunters that aren't going to discharge a firearm on the road. What happened to society? Anyway, I digress. Carry on, Dad.
So anyway, we kept the trees between us, like one tree to the next, and snuck down the road with our loaded guns. Came to the laneway, crossed the laneway, a few more trees. Okay, we're close enough. Let's just jump out from behind these trees and run to the house. Now, we couldn't have stayed at the laneway and shot. We'd have been shooting towards his house. But this way, we were out in front of his house, shooting past it into the cornfield, if you can follow what I'm saying. Because we actually went past his house on the road in the trees. So we were shooting away from the road and away from his house and over the cornfield. So when we jumped between those trees, up they went. And we got another 5 or 6 when they went up there. So that was pretty much our limit for the day. I think back then it was 6 ducks a day for each. I remember there was a time when it dropped to 5, and that's what it is now. But there was a time when it was 6 ducks each. So that was pretty much our limit for the day. So we had a good hunt that day and came on home. And that's what we used to do. We would
another good day of hunting in the days of lead.
Yep. Well, then we had to get creative.
Oh, we're not done yet, Bill. Now are we going to MillHill?
Well, we can if you want. Yeah, we had.
Well, you said you get creative.
Yeah. Well, there's another. I've got another story on how we got even more creative.
Might have to wait for Lake MillHill.
We'll go to MillHill if that's what you want to do.
No,
That's fine.
you stay. I don't want to derail what you have planned out.
Well, no, I can fit it in. I told you it'd work because you get wet years and you get dry years. Wet years, you find those where we were hunting in the area. Now, this was, again, before farmers used to run in drainage ditches and then tile their fields and drain everything. And so we marked all these wet spots and had names for them. And there was one wet spot that used to produce ducks quite a bit. And lots of times what we'd do is it was an area where the ducks would fly, and it was an area where the ducks would feed. Even though they didn't roost there, they would fly over that area and they would decoy, and they'd go back to one of the spots where you couldn't hunt overnight. And we marked all them. We knew where they were, and then we'd follow them to find out the areas that they'd feed in. And they're usually within 5 or 6 blocks of changing fields and different wet holes and resting in the afternoon. So we knew where all these wet holes were. We found them. We marked them. And I'll explain how we found them after this story. Well, this particular year, it was a dry year. And so we went to this wet spot, and there it was. All the weeds that normally no crop, all the weeds that normally grow up in this wet spot and absolutely no water. And it had kind of a bank. And we thought, oh my gosh, there's no water. What are we going to do? And so what we did was we went home and we got some big sheets of plastic. And we had them for painting and whatnot. So we took out enough that we could cover all these weeds. We draped them all over these weeds.
Clear plastic, like poly.
Yeah, I was going to say clear plastic.
Clear plastic.
Like drop sheets that you would have.
For painting. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So we tromped down the weeds and we laid this plastic down, and then we took the decoys. Now they had keels. We didn't have field decoys then either. We didn't even.
They weren't flat bottoms. They got keels for in the water,
and
so they hold
like
up right.
water, yeah.
And I don't even think they sold field decoys back then. I don't remember seeing them with the feet or the stakes, but we had to make sure that we could prop them up either with the weeds and stuff underneath the plastic, or so that they wouldn't fall over on their sides. It looked like they were on the water, looked like water. And so we decided to sit there and wait and see if anything.
So you
flew
went
over.
and got poly, huge sheets.
Yep.
And in the field, you threw this out.
And it was,
so it looked like a wet field.
Yes.
And then you put decoys on it.
Yep.
On the plastic,
No
so it
movement
looked
at all.
like a pond
Yeah.
or a flooded field with ducks on it.
That's right.
Come on.
Lake MillHill is what they called it.
We called it, like, my last name's Millard. His was Underhill, so we named it Lake MillHill. And
You
so,
created your own lake
Yeah, well,
out of
see-
plastic.
Tell me that's not awesome. Now, the only thing that makes it better is if it works.
any other year, there would be wet, and it would be water in that area. Like it depends, and sometimes there was more water than others, but it was a wet spot, and we knew we could decoy ducks that were flying back and forth there. So there wasn't a lot flying, and we were really wondering, like, are we wasting our time?
You think?
But
Yeah.
I don't see ducks in the air. I'm not putting down a whole lot of plastic.
a lot of our wet holes were dried up, and we just got ticked off. So we went home and got this plastic to make our own lake. What else we have to do today? We're duck hunting. We're not going to give it up. So we kind of sat down on this little side hill along the side of the.
So
the
you would
creek
say
and the
that
weeds.
you were trying to make it happen.
Exactly. So anyway, the crows were flying, and of course Ron's very impatient, and he says, "I'm going to shoot some crows." Ron, don't waste your ammunition. Neither one of us are rich. Stop. We're not going to eat crows. So just cool it. If we don't shoot anything today,
I don't
we
know. If
shoot
nothing
anything.
comes in, you're eating crow.
Well, no.
Yeah, sucks when you run out of ammunition. Eh?
Not for the guy that's hunting still. It has ammunition.
Well, anyway, Ron says, "What's that?" I said, "That's a duck. The duck coming our way." Well, call. So we start calling.
Wait, what were you sitting in around this? So you got
I
the
was
lake
just going to
there.
ask you that.
Are you sitting in the
How
field?
are you covered?
There was weeds. That's all there was, weeds. We just kneeled in the weeds and then crouched in the weeds. We couldn't lay down because we couldn't shoot from a
So
landing
you put
position.
this over the weeds, and then the weeds were high enough, like in your knee, up to your knees?
Well, on the outside edge, because remember, it was a wet spot, and it kind of went up.
Oh, so it normally wouldn't grow anyway because it always held water.
Yeah. So around the edge of this wet spot, the weeds were higher, and it was like a kind of a small slope, maybe 2-3 feet slope. So we kind of laid on the slope, and then we saw this duck. So we got up on our knees and crouched with weeds around us. We weren't really hidden real good, but we discovered, in fact, I'll send you a picture. I've got it on my phone, where we used to hunt in the fields with white sheets if it was a snowy morning, or just anything brown, and not even lay down, just crouch on our knees and put these white sheets over us or whatever, and we'd have ducks landing around us. Ducks just don't seem to bother about humps like geese do. In fact, you proved that, Todd. You've seen ducks come in.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting right
We're
up
sitting up there talking, and they'll buzz you.
and land in the corn. So anyway, it's a duck. So we call it. It came towards us. I said, "Wings set. It's coming in. Coming in, Ron. We got a duck coming in. It's looking to land in our fake lake." He went, "Oh my gosh, this is working." And so that was a mallard hen, and she came down and she went right out over the pond. And I said, "She's going to drop right in. You take it. It's your turn." You like we used to take turns shooting. I said, "The last time we hunted, I was the last one to shoot. It's your turn. You take them." And Ron says, "I can't. I'm laughing so hard, my eyes are watering up." I said, "Ron, look." And it come right down over top of those decoys, 3 feet off the decoys, and it didn't drop in. It just hung there hovering. It hung there hovering. And the
like
head,
a hummingbird.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure what this is, but it's something doesn't look right.
Somebody's not recycling. What's going on here?
The duck was so close, like it was facing us, and that duck was so close, you could see his head, her head, look to the right, tipped the head to look down. Each eyeball, turn the right eye, look down, left eye, look down, right over at these fake ducks. I says, Ron, shoot that duck. He's like, I can't see. My eyes are all watered. I'm trying to keep from laughing out loud. He's like, I can't, you shoot it. So I just brought up the gun and bam, she dropped right onto the plastic.
And you stayed dry going to get her.
Yeah, going to get her. Now, that was the only duck that flew over us, but we thought, okay, this works. And if we ever get a dry year like that again, we'll remember to do that. So anyway,
that's pretty neat. That even though you only got the one, it worked.
It was a neat day. Yeah, it was cool, and we never forgot that.
See, that's one of my favorite stories. That's one of my favorite stories because make it happen, right? You got to do what you got to do.
So how much time we got?
We're at 50 minutes. I don't know. You keep. How long's your next story?
Well,
he's on a roll, folks. I don't want to shut this down.
I was actually going to tell you how we found these wet spots because you didn't just do it from the road. And when Ron and I realized that we're missing a lot of wet spots, and I don't know what it's like today. I imagine it could be the same. I don't know, but what we used to do is in the area where the ducks were flying, and we knew that area, we had it pinpointed. And I've often driven through the areas and told Todd, we've hunted ducks in this area. Remember, I've said that to you.
Yep.
Doug hunted ducks here, even on the way to our gun.
Every time we go anywhere, it's the same. If we go to the same place every week, we've hunted ducks there. I used to park and walk through there.
Yeah. And so what we used to do, we'd take 2 cars. And we used to do this on a day through the week when we're on afternoons. And we'd take our guns, but we would take 2 cars. And we'd park in the middle of an intersection. We drive down this intersection and park, and then
wait, because when you say I park in the middle of it, he's not blocking traffic. You're in the middle of a concession.
Yeah, like between side roads.
Yes, so you're halfway up a block.
Yes,
on the side of the road.
Pull over, park the car. Now we'd get into the other car, both of us, drive around the block, use the speedometer. Okay, we'd get to the corner. Okay, that was 3/4 of a mile or a mile or whatever, half a mile, whatever it happened to be to the corner. Then we'd go up to the next intersection, turn right, and then come back that whatever was on the speedometer. Okay, the car is straight to the south of us. We'd park there and we'd get out and we'd just strike out walking straight south through that intersection. It could be a
concession.
We called them intersections back then because all the crossroads intersected each other, but like squares.
So that was the reason you needed a second car, because when you got to the other end, you didn't.
Then you drove back and got your other car.
Way back.
That's right.
So they were just lazy is really what that is.
So we start through this intersection, the pair of us. So this particular day, we're walking through the fields and we're crossing this intersection. Very few fences, or even if there was, there'd be a farm road or something that would go through and to a gate, but we would never, hardly ever climb a fence from one intersection to the one side road to the other. And anyway, we get into this wooded area. It's coming up, and I said, you know what? That looks like it's a wet spot in there. It looks like it's going to hold a pond or something. It's low, and you can see some of the dead trees and that in the middle. He said, I think you're right. So we kind of snuck in, and sure enough, the vegetation got real thick. And then the trees got bigger. And then as we got in, the trees were starting, you could see they were dying off and dead and laying over. And sure enough, here's this big swampy pond in there. And it had ducks in it. I think it was mostly wood ducks. And we thought, oh, we found a neat pond here. He says, I wonder if there's a chance we could sneak up on some of these. It was tough sneaking up, and they were at the other end of the pond.
And wood ducks are wary as crap.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I says, okay, Ron, I'm going to do the sneaking this time. You back out, go around to the other end, because see that open spot at the other end? That looks like they would fly in and out of there because there's an open spot where the trees weren't, and you could see a hill on through that open spot. It looks like they would fly to that high ground if I scare them out. Go and get yourself situated. Now, you got to remember, we had no radios, no phones. it was all just timed. I said, I'll give you 15 minutes to get yourself around there and find us a place, and I'm going to try and sneak these ducks. Hopefully I can get close enough maybe to that end where I can get a shot. But if I don't and they come out, hopefully they'll be over you. You never know if it's going to work or not. And the only thing we carried was whistles in case we had to find each other after or we get lost in there. We'd carry whistles so we could blow whistles to each other. So anyway, 15 minutes, I start in. So I'm trying to sneak in, and it's crunch. The sticks are snapping, and I'm going through brush. And
you weren't walking like a deer?
No, I never walked like a deer in my life. But I'm trying to be quiet, and I'm 100 yards from the ducks, and they went out. And I heard the wings, and I look up because I'm trying to stay low so they can't see me. And whether I scared them or they just decided to leave, I don't know. But they went out, and sure enough, they went out that end. But they didn't go through that clearing. They swung to the left, and they went through the trees, except one duck. The last duck went straight right through that clearing. And I went, oh, they went through the trees. I watched that one duck, and then I hear, ka-wham! And down he came. And sure enough, Ron had worked his way into where that clearing was, but that was the only duck that came out over him, and he nailed a wood duck. So I made my way around to him, and I said, okay, we marked that. We had the map. Let's mark this wet spot because we're going to drive around later, and what we're going to do, we carried rakes with us, and we're going to rake a pathway into this pond.
You carried rakes?
Yep.
That's crazy. The level of commitment I'm hearing, honestly, is just people don't work that hard anymore to hunt. I don't know.
That's
days
how we
gone by old. They just don't work that hard.
Spoiled. All spoiled. They just want, I'm going to go pay a guide, put ducks in my lap, have a good day.
We spent 6 days a week doing it. The only day we didn't do it was Friday. We got our paychecks.
Time is money, folks.
We got our paychecks Thursday night. We got paid every week. Friday morning, we went to the bank, cashed our checks, brought home the grocery money, paid the bills, and then that was the only day we didn't hunt. So the wives could get their groceries Saturday while we were out hunting again on Saturday. So anyway, we continued on. Now, we went up that hill, and we crested the hill and looked down at the pictures that I sent you. When you see how you're on a hill and you look down and see that wet spot and decoys there, that wasn't the day that we found it. The day we found it, we looked down on a bunch of ducks and a few geese in that wet spot. And there was no way we could sneak down that side hill and get close to them. And so we skirted it. They left, and we never got to hunt it. And we continued on. But we did find further across there, it was a huge lake full of ducks. And right in the middle was a blind. Somebody built a blind right in the middle of this huge water hole, a natural pond. I don't know if it was Springfield or what, but it was like a small lake. And so we continued on through, and we knocked on the farmer's door that owned it. We were almost to the road. And we said, hey, we happened to come from through the intersection, found this lake back here behind your barn. And we noticed that there's a blind in there. Do you allow hunting? Is it taken? Can we get it? And they told us point blank that there was a local farmer who rented the lake from them, and that was his blind. Oh. So I said, do you mind giving me his name? They said, no. They gave me his name and phone number. I thought, great. So when we went back to the car, we went the other way, maybe 100 yards the other way into the intersection and back out. And we did find a wet hole there that we thought, well, this is going to hold ducks, especially if this guy is hunting his big lake. So we drove around, got the car or to where our other car was, went in with our rakes, and we cleared a path to that pond through the bush with rakes and broke out the brush.
How long would that have taken you?
Oh, it took us a good hour and a half. I'll bet maybe 2 hours. Like you're on right till it's time to go to work. We had to go to work at 3:30. So we'd be out there first thing in the morning. We'd grab, at that time, McDonald's had just moved into town. And you could buy a burger for 40 or 50 cents. Yeah. So, and they were always ready, and they were down a chute.
What? It was really fast food?
Oh, it was really fast food. You know, not like today where you wait. Sorry for the wait. Sorry for the wait. You would,
that could work there. It's their slogan.
Yeah, I'd be almost late for work. I'd drive in there. I'd say 3 cheeseburgers, please. Give the guy $1.50. Eat those cheeseburgers on the way home. Get on my work clothes and go to work. Just like that. Lunch and
days old.
Jay could hunt with you back then. You just spoke to Jay's heart right there that he wants to duck hunt.
Didn't matter what kind of burger you want. They were in a chute. They just took one off, handed it to you, and then the chute dropped some more. They were always lined up on the chute.
The chute would have enough burgers in it for my
it was always full of burgers. Sorry, Jay, I'm laughing, but I know what you mean because that was fast food and it was reasonable. Anyway, we did go back and we used that same method, sneak in the path. No one guy blocked the end, and we hunted that a few times. And then the picture I sent you, 2 pictures. One is of Fred Gray, one of my hunting buddies, standing beside that pond with the decoys. The other is from the hill. And if you look down, you'll see our decoys in that water hole. And then to the right of that picture, you'll see Fred standing there. So I'd gone up the hill and took a picture down. That was what we saw when we first found it, minus the decoys.
Those pictures were from the same spot.
That's it. That's the spot.
So in that spot, there's a bunch of bulrushes in the middle of that lake.
Yeah.
Did you guys hide in that bulrush?
No, we hid around the edge.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, we hit around the edge. Now,
I noticed he was wearing hip waders there. I thought he might have waded it out to the middle.
We didn't hunt in it. We hunted around the edge. And that's why we had some decoys on land and some floaters, the goose, some floaters, some field, and then a few ducks in there. And we tried to decoy them to that end. So you'll see Fred holding a couple ducks there. And then the other picture is him way down the hill. That's what it looked like when we first saw it. And then we would go down in and put the decoys out and hide her in the bulrushes. But
that'd
now,
be exciting.
That pond we found with the blind in it, I did call that guy. And he said, "Oh, yeah, I've been hunting that for years." Now, he was a lot older than we were. And I said, "Gee whiz, I don't know what you pay. We didn't get that far, but is there a chance that my buddy and I could buy in with you and hunt with you?" No. He says, "I'm sorry." He says, "That's my spot." And he says, "But I hunt that Saturday mornings," and I hunt it every Saturday morning. So for a long time, Ron and I went across the road. Remember I told you on the way out, we found that wet spot. If we'd go across the road and we'd hear him shooting in that pond, well, then they'd come to us in that wet hole across the road and we'd get our share of ducks on the other side of the road. Well, then one Saturday morning, didn't hear any shooting. He's not there today. Holy moly, this is a miserable windy day. It's later in the season. The migrations are coming down. He's always here. And there was no shooting coming from that pond. So we went home, no car phones or anything, but we went home that day and I called him and his wife answered and she says, "No, he's sick. And he's really seriously sick. And we don't even know if he's going to be able to hunt anymore." And I said, "Well, listen, when he's feeling well enough that he can take a phone call, I'd like to talk to him." And she says, "Well, you call tomorrow afternoon after he gets home from the doctor and you can talk to him." So I called and I said, "Sorry to hear you're so sick." And I said, "Is there a chance that..."
Sorry to hear you're sick, but can we get your spot?
Yeah. I didn't take a spot. I said, "You're not hunting this year?" He says, "No, I can't hunt this year." He says, "I hope that I'm going to be well enough to hunt next year." And I said, "Well, I've got a deal for you. We'll pay and hunt your spot, but you can hunt anytime you want. And if there's a couple of days you want to hunt by yourself, we will let you. I'm not trying to kick you out of your spot. I'm just going to take away your responsibility. We'll pay and you can hunt anytime you want and we'll make that deal. I'll put that in writing." And he says, "No," he says, "even if I can't go, I want that spot on a maybe." So the next year he never hunted it at all. So I called him again and found out that he had passed away. And so I went to the farmer and somebody from north of that had already moved in and took the spot. We missed it.
You missed it. You missed the opportunity.
Yeah, missed the opportunity. And back then, that was a good spot. And so we were kind of sad we missed that opportunity, but we did. We missed that opportunity. But anyway, that's...
well, there you go. Those are some good stories this week, I tell you.
The Days of Lead. What do we have, volume 5?
I'm not sure what we are. I've had concussions, so
yeah, I'm with you. They all just kind of
roll.
roll together. But see, Lake MillHill, that's one of my favorite stories.
That's a great story. I mean, like I said, people just don't work that hard anymore. And I think that people, if they did work that hard, they wouldn't have time to do anything else. That's for sure.
We didn't. We didn't. Friday, and we just didn't. I mean, it wasn't that time of year where the lawn needed cutting a lot, and it was fall and winter. And so we just hunted 6 days a week. But we'd get a lot of people at work, friends, even relatives. Where are you getting them? Where are you getting these? Will you take me? And Ron would look at me and say, yeah, we each spend a tank of gas in one day, and we spend all this time, and we're just going to take these people here and say, yeah, shoot your ducks, go earn them, go look for them. Yeah. So Ron would look at
gas
them.
was like a quarter a liter then, anyways, right? And it was leaded, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And you got
like the shot, the days of lead.
You got to remember though, that back then, like I started working in 1966, and my pay was $1.55 an hour, and so you didn't have a lot of money to. And I was married in 68. I saved for 2 years, put a down payment on a house. I bought 3 rooms of furniture and left that stored till we found a house. And then my wife and I paid for our own wedding. And that's what we lived on, $1.55 an hour. I think it might have been 2 years later, it might have went to $1.75 or $1.80 an hour, but that's what we lived on. And when you went through a tank of gas, loaf of bread.
It meant something.
Yeah.
Absolutely it did.
Yeah. See, and those people exist today. I mean, we've been reached out to. I think I don't know if I've said it. Maybe it's a podcast when we're done, the Days of Lead, that I share, where we've even had TV show we want to come film hunting turkeys. Hey, right on. Yeah, but we got to shoot first. So you put us on the turkeys, and then if there's still time and there's still turkeys around, then you guys can shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
My ego's not that high, folks. I'm sorry.
No.
The ego's a fickle thing, but and I can't be narcissistic, but I'm not that narcissistic. You go find your own spot. And really, you got a TV show and you need to talk to people like me to put you on turkeys? That's the problem.
You said all that and didn't even say, I don't mean to sound cocky or arrogant.
I didn't get there yet. You cut me off.
But you'd be shocked at how many people would say, where'd you get them? Where'd you get them? And Ron would just I can still see him saying it, and I love saying this because he'd look him right in the eye and say, some in the head, some in the butt.
Yeah. And then there's the genuine people. Like I love Isaac. I got to get him out. He took me rabbit hunting his place. I got to get him out. Life's just been so busy to get out. I got to take him out. I think there's a good hunting partner in Isaac. He's a nice dude. and you can just tell the different personalities, right?
Yeah,
and that's a whole other podcast, but there's guys that are good hunters and selfless and, there for you as much as you are for them. Those are the folks I want to hunt with and make relationships with.
Road in another podcast.
Absolutely. Sure. Yep. Yeah, because we shared it when we were talking about when we were rabbit hunting, right? So
yeah, we did. Yep.
So it's absolutely it. And yeah, I could see that in Isaac. So that kind of people, absolutely. But anyway, that was good. Days of Lead, volume 5, I think.
Awesome. Well, thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate the phone call, the time, the conversation, and the stories.
Yeah. Hey, hopefully I can't catch Rona through the phone.
Yeah, we can try. I'll mail it to you.
I'm glad you're not feeling that bad, but you know what? There's a plus because now you got the antibodies,
Oh, yeah. I'm like Universal Soldier now.
Yeah.
I've already said it. Dude, I'm with you.
Posted, right next to Van Dam here.
I've smoked E. coli, Ebola, you name it, I've had it. I just crushed it.
Got it. You know what? I'm the almost guy. We got this.
Yeah. You almost didn't catch the Rona.
Almost. Yeah. Almost made it 2 years.
I'm not saying a word. I don't even want to have to knock on wood. I don't want to take no pregnancy test. Right.
I was just going to say, if you don't test, you'll never know. So.
Yeah. I thought maybe a couple weeks ago, but I kept peeing on this thing and nothing ever came positive. So we're good to go. Oh, buddy. All right. We'll talk.
Take care, Bill. See ya.
Have a goodie.
Bye-bye.
And that'll do it for this week, folks. For the Redneck Country podcast, I'm Bill, the Almost Guy Tom.
And I'm Todd. Thanks for listening. And folks, if you want to be part of the podcast or you want to give us some feedback or really contact us about anything, feel free to email us at podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week.